Traveling Light, everybody. Let's give it up for Traveling Light. Rocking the house to that road to Shambhala. You know, I just absolutely love it when Traveling Light is here. Just absolutely love you guys. And, you know, working with you this week and having you in my mind and my consciousness, it made me think of a joke. So a photon checks into a hotel, and the clerk says, "Do you have any luggage?" And the photon says, "No, I'm Traveling Light." So give it up for Traveling Light, everybody. You know, the idea of a Shambhala, you know, just take that in for a moment. The song that they sang, The Road to Shambhala. How does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? So what is Shambhala to you? You know, I can tell you, going to teen summer camp is Shambhala to me, and to many, many other people, advisors and teens as well. And if you really think about it, it's like the Shangri-La, the Shambhala. There isn't actually a definite place. It's been said that it's created. It can be a physical place, it can be an ideal, but it's this sense and this feeling and this greater than words experience. And I want to impart a little bit of that on this morning. I want to wake that up and focus on it just a little bit, because the road to Shambhala, like the road to teen camp, if you could just imagine for a minute, imagine yourself when you were a teenager, ages 13 to 18. Just pick a time and imagine who you were, how you felt, what you looked like, what you were doing, who you were hanging out with. And then imagine coming together with hundreds of other teens in a place where you are completely accepted, completely loved, completely celebrated, and completely supported. And not only are you accepted, loved, celebrated, and supported, but you're encouraged to be all of you, no matter what that looks like. Just imagine. It's powerful. It's incredible. So that's my Shambhala. Last week I experienced Shambhala every minute of every day, and coming back home, you know, a part of me always changes. A part of me always realigns and shifts and becomes a different person. And I'm loving the me that has come home from summer camp this year. Just loving it. So I just wanted to share with you whatever your Shambhala is, because we're going to talk about that a little bit this morning, and I just love that song. So I just love you guys so much. So I want to also say that I feel that our center is Shambhala, you know, and you can walk through those doors and know that you are completely accepted, completely supported, and completely empowered to be the you that you want to be in this moment. How cool is that? That's pretty cool. Woohoo! And then I also feel that our teaching is kind of like the idea of Shambhala, our declarations of principles. You know, we can't possibly close the month of declaration out without touching on our declaration of principles, can we? And I know that you all have your program. If you got your program in your hand, the outside cover has our declaration of principles on the back side of the outside cover. And the reason why we are diving in and spending this weekend with Ernie is because, by the way, this weekend at Ernie's was a workshop that we did at summer camp this past week. And it's also important, I feel, to go back to our declaration of principles and take a look at those. Because this is what we believe. And how these were written is Ernest Holmes was written a letter. And in that letter, it said, what do you believe? And he actually wrote all of these declaration of principles in this letter as a response to what he believed. I think that's pretty profound. I mean, I probably would have been a little shorter with that declaration of principle, but he really got into it. If you can imagine him sitting there with his pen and paper, and he's like, oh, what do we believe? And he just went crazy. He went crazy with it. So Eric, if you could pull up the first slide there. So we're going to dive in to declarations of principles that Ernie wrote, but we're going to do it kind of our style, kind of break these down. And I'm not going to do all of them, so don't get excited. I'm just, what time? Yeah, we got all day. No, I'm not going to do all of them. But what we've got on this side of the column is Ernest's Declaration of Principle, which we have printed in the back of our bulletin. And then on this side, there's kind of an explanation about that. And so today we're going to go on a little journey. We're going to journey into some of these Declaration of Principles. We're going to check them out. We're going to look under the cover, look under the hood, and see what these are all about. Now, the first one is pretty lengthy. You know, good old Ernie, he likes to use words. And the first one is just really powerful, but it's pretty lengthy. So I've broken it down into 3 different steps. So on this very first one, we've got, we believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one, indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. It goes on to say this one manifests itself in and through all creation, but it is not absorbed by its creation. Then he goes on to say the manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. So to me, basically what that means is there's one God. There's one God. Okay. Poof. There is one God, period. Any questions on that? It's one God. We believe in the incarnation of spirit and humankind, and that all people are incarnations of the one Spirit. So basically, everything is spirit. Everything's in spirit, everything is spirit, and since there's one God, then we know that this one God is everything in spirit. Okay, you following me so far? This good? Okay, I'm not going to go through all of them, so I'm going to skip down. We believe the kingdom of heaven is within us, and that we experience this kingdom to the degree that we become conscious of it. So we all know the kingdom of heaven is really a state of consciousness, isn't it? You know, we can take ourselves to heaven right here and now. I'm in heaven right now. How many of y'all are in heaven right now? On the road to Shambhala, I'm in heaven. We can also take ourselves to hell really quick, but we're not really going to talk about that. We can. You know, I tend to say the absolute shortest trip to hell is when we start feeling sorry for ourselves. That's a pretty darn quick into that feeling place. But we're talking about heaven on earth. You know, the kingdom of heaven is that state of consciousness where we know we have oneness with spirit. How cool is it? I want you guys to know that all the things that we do with the teens at summer camp, we work with these principles. All the workshops, all the pray-ins, all the experiences, we're using these principles. These teens are getting completely immersed with this idea that heaven on earth is right here, right now, and we can awaken to it no matter what. I personally think that's pretty powerful for anybody of any age to understand and then practice and then put into place. So we believe the ultimate goal of life is to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. So basically what that says to me is personal freedom. We all have personal freedom. We can utilize this, we can create heaven on earth, we can have our experience through our consciousness, but we have total personal freedom in how we want to apply that. And, you know, the reason why Ernest created these beliefs, what really drove that for him was to create a world that is positive, to create your world that is positive. So he created these principles to have this blueprint, so to speak, so that we could create a positive life. Now, why would that be so important? Why is it important for us, for one thing, to have a positive life, and then to be able to understand that we can create it for ourselves? Why do we care? Who out there wants a positive life? Who out there has had both, positive/negative life? Which do you prefer? I mean, I'm just asking, because we're discovering we've got personal freedom to decide which we prefer and then apply our consciousness to create that. I don't know about you, but that's pretty mind-blowing for me. I'm pretty excited about that. And I also have a video, a short one that I want to play for you right now it goes along with this principle, and it's going to introduce a man named Tim. And Tim is my hero. And he falls with what it is that we've covered so far. So it's not long. So watch what Tim's life is all about and find out why he's my hero. Thank you, Eric.
I wake up at 5:30, get in the shower, do my morning routine, and go around 7 o'clock to come to work. I am so excited to go to work, so I do a dance off in the parking lot. It's a dance of magic. We serve breakfast, lunch, and hugs. The hugs are the best part. I am Tim Harris, and this is my place. Oh yeah. Hey guys, welcome to my place. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Those are the best part, buddy. I love you. Have you been here before?
No, I've never been here before.
Well, I'm Tim. I'm the owner. Tim's place is the special place to be at because it's run and operated by me. You guys are doing a great job back here. I love you guys. You guys are the best cooks ever. Since I was a kid, I wanted to own a restaurant, and I asked my dad to help me out. I'm very glad I did. Thank you, Dad. I love you so much.
I love you too, buddy. I'm very proud of you. When he was about 14 years old, he told us that someday he was going to own a restaurant. After we all gulped and gasped, we began to take him seriously, and the result is history in the making.
They support me so I can live up my dreams.
I'm amazingly proud of my brother. Just what he's accomplished in his lifetime. I mean, people can only dream, you know?
I love you, Mom.
Too, honey. As far as we know, we have not yet found another person with Down syndrome in this country that owns their own restaurant. We hope that other people will, though.
My favorite part of all is the people coming through that front door. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Sometimes customers get sad. I give them a hug and then they feel a lot better.
Oh, thank you, Tim.
The hugs are way more important than the food. The food is food, so. How about a double hug?
Yep, double hug.
Love you guys. I am a lean, mean hugging machine. Oh yeah.
So let me get this straight. So
Yeah.
you're a restaurateur.
Yes.
And
A Special Olympic athlete.
Special Olympic athlete, and you've
Yes.
won a gold medal.
I have won more medals than Michael Phelps. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I did not let my disability crush the dreams. With people with disabilities, they can do anything they set their minds to. They're special. We are a gift to the world.
Yeah, wow. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So Tim's my hero. Could you imagine going into a restaurant, going anywhere, and getting hugs and having somebody say, I love you? You look great today. It's a beautiful day. I'm in love with life. What about your workplace? He's telling the cooks, you guys are doing awesome. You're the best cooks in the world. I mean, think about it. Think about when we go to work. If our bosses and our coworkers just constantly provided that kind of love and acceptance and support and encouragement, you're the absolute best. The best. You're doing a great job. I love you. And you can tell he was there and on it. He meant it. He means it. That's the life he lives. He's got a great attitude, I would say. He has a very positive outlook on life, no matter what. I would imagine he doesn't let pretty much anything get him down. How could you, when your job is just to love people up? What if that was our ultimate goal and aim, is to love people up, no matter what? Everything else is secondhand. And that everything else that's secondhand, if our number one job was to love people up, including ourselves, the heaven on earth, all those second place things really do just kind of fall into place. Now imagine summer camp. Every single meal, that's what it looks like. Hundreds of people just loving each other, hugging each other, talking about the last workshop and listening to each other and helping people process and listening to teens get more and more into the true knowing nature of their being. It's just unbelievably incredible. Shambhala. How does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? Tim's light shines, let me tell you. Tim's light shines incredibly. So going on to the next declaration of principle, We believe in the unity of all life and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. Basically, unity of all life. All life is unified. We believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. Basically, there's a personification of God, meaning we all understood before we have this personal freedom to apply our conscious awareness to create heaven on earth. There we go. We do this through our conscious thinking, our positive attitude. Think of Tim. So now we understand, well, there's a personification of God. We can have a personal experience with the Spirit. The Spirit can be our confidant. The Spirit is our beloved, our helper, our benefactor, our advisor. Whatever we desire it to be, it is all right there. It's all within here. And it's all available all the time. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through the intuitive and spiritual nature of humankind, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. Personal revelation. It's not coming from anywhere outside of you. That revelation of the truth, of your highest and best, and your heaven on earth, and whatever that is, that's not coming from anywhere outside of yourself. You are a personal revealer of your truth. We believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God. So there's a universal law. This universal law always says yes. And I know it is warm in here, isn't it? I'm like seeing people fan themselves. I think it's all that dancing we did earlier. Woo! So we're going to think cool thoughts. We're going to go into the cool flow here. Universal law, it always says yes. So I'm going to claim that it's cooling off as we speak, and the universal law is going to say yes. So that's going to be my own personal heaven in the moment. I'm going to experience coolness. So we are surrounded by this creative mind which receives the direct impress of our thoughts and acts upon it. Basically what that says is these laws create our life experience out of our consciousness. So that's kind of important. I would imagine it's important to think about where our consciousness is in the moment. If we're constantly applying, supplying information into these laws that's creating our life experience, which the overall trend of our beliefs, thinking, attitudes, and emotions is what makes it up. Holy cow. I know we've talked about that a whole bunch of times from here, but it's always good to revisit. Let's look at these words: beliefs, thinking, attitudes, and emotions. So I love that Mara brought it up, but yes, there's a twist to the title of the talk today, Weekend at Ernie's. Because yes, there was a video and a film in the 80s called Weekend at Bernie's. How many of you have seen that movie? A few of you. So basically, it's a comedy. It is absolutely hilarious. And these two guys that don't have a lot of money and are really impressed by money and power and living the luxurious life of money, their boss invites them to this private party on his private place on the ocean and is talking to them, and they're talking to him about possibly getting a promotion. And, things are going good for these two guys, and they come to the party, and they're like, whoa, and they're taking it all in. Well, while this is going on, poor old Bernie apparently had a hit out on him, and he I think he gets shot. I can't remember now because it's been quite a few years. Just on the fly, somebody takes him out while these two guys are sitting and talking to him. They're like, oh, no. So basically, because they had this incredible weekend planned and this incredible promotion they thought, we just got to keep Bernie in play while we've got this going on. So they staged the whole thing. They put a hat on him, they put glasses on him, they took him everywhere, and they acted like he was still with them. And it was kind of funny. But basically, the whole point to that is they created an illusion, didn't they? I mean, basically they did. So based on that declaration of principle, Weekend at Bernie's, they created this illusion that things are not always what they seem. Think about how many calculations and assumptions that we make based on what our eyes glance at. That sometimes can totally change our mood in the moment, our opinion of things, our opinion of people, can change whether we're in heaven right now on earth or in hell right now on earth. And we take all this in sometimes just at a glance of an eye, just like the guys did at Weekend at Bernie's with that hat and sunglasses. And every now and then they would shake him so he would move a little bit. And if somebody addressed him or said something, they would like nod his head for him. I mean, they created this illusion. And it's all about, with further, more profound awareness, we may discover a very different situation or experience. And so I'm going to dive into this, give you a taste of this workshop that we did, to kind of bring that along. So I want you to know that I have an object. I have an object up here with me that you cannot see. And I'm going to describe this object to you, and I want you to think of what it is. I want you to picture a visual image of what it is. Now, this object can fly. It is not a solid color. It is not a triangle. Let's see. What else can I say about this object? It has more than one color. It can be used for many different things. So how many of you have an idea of an object in your mind right now? Shout one out. Dragonfly? Butterfly? Helicopter? Well, yeah, I'm good. I got a helicopter. It could be a baby helicopter, but cool. Anybody else? What are you thinking? A rock? A bouncy ball. Look at this. Look at that. So we went from a dragonfly, a butterfly, a helicopter, a rock, and a bouncy ball, which, by the way, you get to keep. Bam! And there is a August edition of Science Mind magazine for you as well. But yes, a bouncy ball. So let's think about what just happened. So I described my perception, or I described this object, gave you some information, and you guys started visualizing something that kind of fit what I described to you. How did the visual in your mind differ from what the object really was? Well, some of them differed quite a bit, didn't it? I'd say. Isn't that what kind of happens to us? When we do kind of take sometimes a very narrow outlook on something. If we just glance at something and formulate an opinion or create a judgment, and I have found in life that generally we do that not necessarily to create our heaven on earth, but to do the other. We're pretty quick with that. I don't know though, unless you're like a kid or a teenager trying to talk your parent or guardian into doing something, and then you can probably paint it in a more positive picture. But just think about that for a minute. How narrow do we tend to look at something? You know I've mentioned many times the 10,000 or the like 60,000 foot level as opposed to the 10,000 foot level. Mark Nepo says the best chance, oh, I'm reading the wrong one, I'm sorry. Aha, Thomas Jefferson says, nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal. Nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude. There's a big difference, really, really big difference there. And so going to the next principle, let's see. I told you I'm not doing them all. This one I have to, though. It's really powerful part of our teaching. We believe in healing the sick through the power of this mind. We believe in the control of conditions through the power of this mind. You know, and you can read for yourself. It says up there, by changing our beliefs, thinking, attitudes. But I want to quote something that Ernest says that I think is really powerful. Ernest says, disease is not a truth. The truths within infinite intelligence include health, abundance, security, love, peace, and happiness. Mara covered those in her reading today beautifully. All of which make up our natural state. Anyone, by claiming these truths and acting confidently on them, can bring them into manifestation. So disease is not a truth. So if we were to focus our attention on the truth, on those aspects of infinite intelligence, which includes health, which includes abundance, security, love, peace, and happiness. And if we act confidently, putting our attention on those, then we will be able to bring them into manifestation. The universal law always says yes. So really, sometimes it's all about, well, what are we paying attention to? What are we looking at? What is our perspective? So basically, spiritual healing and personal power is another principle that we believe in. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. Goodness of God. God is good. We believe in that. We believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny. Self-determination, just like Tim. He was self-determined, wasn't he? He told his parents at 14 that he was going to own a restaurant. He was self-determined that every single person that walked into that door was hugged, knew that they were loved, life was good. I love that. And we understand that the life of humankind is God. My life and all of life is God. So basically, all is God. So that's the Declaration of Principles broken down. And I want to share with you about this idea that Ernest had. The reason why he actually penned these principles, what he believed, is because he truly believed that we could live a positive life based on how we applied our thinking, based on what we put our focus and energy and attention on. Mark Nepo says, the best chance to be whole is to love whatever gets in the way until it ceases to be an obstacle. Yeah. You know, an author told a story that is a perfect example of this, and it was on the subway in New York, riding the subway during a commuting time, and everybody was settled in. You know, they had their coffee or tea mugs, they were reading their paper, the subway car was calm and peaceful, everybody was just doing their thing, and they were in their groove. And at the next stop, the door opened, and this man and 4 children got on the subway, and all chaos ensued. The children were wild and crazy. They were bugging each other. They were sometimes snatching papers out of people's hands. They were loud. They were rude. They were just really in everybody's face. And this author was like, oh my gosh. He kept looking at the father to see if the father was going to do anything. And the father was just kind of sitting there, he said, oblivious to all of it. And this went on for a few stops. And so the author said, so I got up my nerve to politely ask the gentleman, you know, your children, you know, they seem kind of hyperactive at the moment and seem to be bothering some people. Do you think you could maybe control them a little bit better? And the man at the moment heard him and looked up, kind of taken out of where he was. And he said, yes, you're right, they are. He said, you see, we just came from the hospital and their mother just died. And I don't think they know what to do with that. And neither do I. And so instantly, the author said, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. What can I do to help you? How can I be there for you? Do you want to talk about it? So in an instant, probably of about 5 to 10 minute space, there was a whole lot of different emotions that were felt, and there were a lot of different observations that were taken in by the people on the shuttle, the subway, feeling upset, feeling disturbed, feeling chaotic. And with just a little bit more information, did you see how quickly it all turned to love and acceptance, understanding, compassion? We get into our little worlds and we have these expectations of what needs to look like, what needs to happen. That's the other beautiful thing about summer camp, because you cannot have any expectations when you go there. You are camping out in the wilderness. There's no expectations whatsoever. So when we get in our own little worlds and we tend to think this is what's got to happen and this is the way it's got to look, we start to not live. We start to not live consciously aware. We start to lose the ability to guide and direct our life to be positive. And so sometimes, wouldn't you say it's good to get shaken up just a little bit? Sometimes it's good to have a little bit of change. Sometimes it's good to have a little bit of chaos come on board when we've kind of settled in and decided, I want comfort instead. There's nothing wrong with comfort. I like conscious, aware comfort. That's what I like. Consciously aware comfort and celebration. So the power of thought is a natural principle. All of us share unlimited access to the mind, to the infinite curative power of the universe. The power, that natural law can operate only through our own minds. That personal freedom, that determination, it can only operate through our own minds. Who's got personal responsibility for that? I do. You do. Nobody else. Nobody else. So if you want to change any condition in your life, then give the law new instructions, wrote Ernest Holmes. I love that. Anything about your life that you'd like to bring maybe a little bit more positiveness in, a little bit more celebration, a little bit more hugs, a little bit more love, then all you have to do is give the law new instructions. Through affirming and accepting the innate excellence of any circumstance, we can channel that generative energy. Our individual welfare rests neither in our luck nor in our hands, but in our minds. And I also like to say in our hearts, because to me, when we're working these principles, they're one and the same. My heart and my mind are working together in collaboration. You know, our teaching is a way of life. It offers techniques devised to expand our conscious awareness of spiritual laws, and it shows us how to use them. Our teaching is all about not telling us what to think, but telling us how to think, and leaving it up to us to decide what that is. It creates the experience of wholeness and wholesome living for all who follow its principles. So I just want to close by saying, Ernest Holmes did not claim that he had found the ultimate answers to life's questions. He just sat down one day and penned a reply to a letter. And the question was, what do you believe? Pretty profound beliefs, though. But he says, this is my revelation, not yours, he emphasized. It must always remain open to the top for new insights. We are constantly, consciously expanding. When we're awake, when we're aware, when we're alive. With even the most rudimentary understanding of mind, any person can use thought to solve day-to-day problems, and from that point, spiritual awareness can expand indefinitely. Shambhala, guys. That's what I'm talking about. Shambhala. So I know that I am constantly and consistently on the road to Shambhala. And I know that there are days when I am shining in those halls. And I know that the days that I'm shining in those halls, they feel good. And I celebrate them. And I say to Spirit, more of this, more of this, more of this. So I got a question for you. How does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? So let us go into prayer. Knowing that as we have looked at and stated and claimed these universal declaration of principles of our teaching, the science of mind and spirit, we take them into our conscious mind, into our heart and into our soul, and we really take a look at them. What does this mean, and what does this mean for us, individually and collectively? And with that powerful meaning and great experience, we get to apply it. We get to pick and choose and decide, heaven on earth? Yes. Positive life? Yes. So what do I need to do? Yes. Apply these principles. Apply them in our own unique, powerful, individualized concept, knowing that we are one with Spirit, we are one with God, we are one with each other, so there's no way that we can ever do anything wrong. There's no way we can screw up. There's no way that we can be bad. We can fall asleep, though. And so in this moment, We just simply declare all that is the truth for us individually and collectively. We declare what it is that we know and have greater understanding of so that we can apply to our lives and say yes to this incredible positive thinking and this incredible positive experience that we are creating for ourselves and therefore each other, because we are completely connected and we are all one. I am empowered to say yes to that. I am empowered to stay awake, and I am empowered to shine in the halls of Shambhala. I am also incredibly grateful. I am incredibly grateful to know that it is simply my thoughts and my attitude that is all I need to take my next step towards personal success, personal freedom, and personal celebration, and universal love and peace. Knowing that this is the truth, we simply proclaim together, and so it is.